Hello everybody, CJ here, your local friendly technology addict. And this is the Tech Addict's Attic. So I'm just a little wary of doing the 10-minute limited inset video thing. So tonight it's just going to be this. So it's probably going to be longer, but check this out. I got a different coil, right? I made this one on a Lysol wipes container, using 30 gauge magnet wire and a lot of it. Oh wow, I got a couple of loops out of place. Oh, I didn't notice that before. Interesting. Anyway, check us out.
Was that being isolationist? Was that not having
Right? I'm not even touching it. I just come close to it. When I do touch it, it goes dead. Let me pull this tape back off of it. I was using the tape to hold a piece of wire there.
Visa entry which was defeated as an amendment
Right?
to the Gang of Eight bill. Remember when that came up? It was actually...
So you can see that something as simple as putting your hand near the coil is enough to load the coil in such a way as to make its inductance change. Well, here's another coil I've got. This is tapped, okay? So it's going to be a little bit easier to work with, but it's also a smaller diameter, obviously. This is 3/4 inch CPVC pipe. I'm going to go ahead and hook that up and see what changes. Alright, so we've got the coil, and I know it's hard to see, but there is this one wire here. It's ground wire coming up here to this end. So this is the ground end of the coil. And right now that's basically where I've got my antenna hooked up, so that's not going to work. Let me hook it up over here instead. Alright, and then the other end, one goes to ground, the other end goes here to the aerial part of the diode, and of course the other end of the diode goes back into my audio amplifier, into ground. So that's our current path. Okay, no nada, nunca, no how. So we're going to go to the next one. See what we get on that. Okay, go to the next one. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video here, and then I'll bring it back up if I get anything. Alright, so I'm halfway through the coil, and I'm not getting anything. And that doesn't really bother me, but by not getting anything, I mean I'm not even getting static pops. I'm getting some there. So that tells me that I don't have all of the insulation off of this, off of these taps, or I do have the insulation off the taps, but there's so much oxidation that it's preventing a good connection. So I'm going to disconnect all of that, right? And then I'm going to do a little trick. Children, do not try this at home. I am a trained amateur. We have fire. Not a good idea over something flammable like paper, but I do know what I'm doing. I'm going to burn the insulation off. It's going to make the wire black with soot and burnt insulation. But that's okay. Because what that means is it's burning off the insulation, for one. And in so doing, I am making it easier to scrape the insulation off. Now, I realize that this isn't going to show up that well. But you can see how the taps are now blackened with soot and charred insulation. And just a little bit of scraping makes it come off real easy. And maybe it doesn't come off any easier, but one thing is for certain, I can at least now know that I've gotten it off. You know, I don't have any question that I'm able to make a good contact here. So I'm going to keep cleaning these up with some sandpaper rather than my knife, because honestly the sandpaper will go a bit quicker. And we'll pick up where I left off. Okay then, let's see if I've made any progress. We will plug. Yeah, we'll put the ground end back on the right. We'll put the aerial end, or whatever they call it. I honestly don't know if it's got an official name, on the left. And we will take these, straighten them out a wee tad. See what we get. At least on that one I got some static pops. Now you'll notice I'm doing this not really scientifically. I'm not taking any notes, I'm not tracking my progress or anything, but I'm doing the same thing on each one of these. And that's the heart of the scientific method, is you don't change your experiment as you go. You do the same experiment on different variables. In this case, the variable would be which one of these taps I do, and in that regard, how many turns of coil I'm using. And then for each one, I get quiet, I listen, and I turn the capacitor the entire arc of its travel. Maybe I'm going too fast to hear anything. So that's something I have to consider. There's any number of reasons why I might not hear anything. I might be hearing plenty, I'm just not in the right band for it. Or maybe there are signals there, but they're so weak even this amplification doesn't pick them up. Although I should at least get the local AM stations. I've always been able to get them. I've mentioned before picking up Radio Cuba, Radio Havana. But they are not in the typical AM broadcast band. They're actually up in the shortwave bands. I forget where. I want to think in the 3 megahertz range, but I don't recall. They may have been up around 6 or 7 megahertz. Another possibility is that this setup will not pick up an FM signal. And even if it does, it won't be able to demodulate it correctly. Alright, progress, right? I have no idea what station I'm listening to. Yep, 9:30 a.m. I was able to pick them up with the other coil.
And you play them accordingly. Look at what Arizona's done with safeties like Tony Jefferson, like Daniel Buchanan, where they play hybrid type of deal, almost play in different positions based on down and distance. And I think we may find the same thing with Jabril Peppers.
All right, so
It becomes a linebacker. Incredibly gifted, because he's going to be doing things as a defensive back, running with linebackers. And this was a little bit
all right, let's see what else I can pick up. So that was 9:30. I wonder if I'll get a higher or lower frequency the closer to the ground end I get. What do you think? If this is the ground, and this is aerial, and I'm getting closer to ground, okay, am I going higher or lower in frequency? I already know the answer. So the closer to ground I get, the fewer coils or the fewer turns there are. Let me think about that. No. I will be using more turns because from here to the ground end, that doesn't matter. It's from here to here that matters, okay? Because this is the end that goes up here to the diode. So it's listening to this section here. The antenna's here. The diode is picking it up from here. So it's going through all these turns to get to it. So I should be getting lower in frequency.
You now play by the government's rules. That's exactly what was said. Which is fine. The idea that you give up your religious freedom if you want to feed your family.
I recognize his voice, I think.
That was rejected by the
I was listening to AM 930. I think this is AM 690.
So a lot of these religious witnesses, Hobby Lobby, and all these big decisions were 5-4.
Nope, that's not 690.
Was really somewhat in a tenuous situation as to whether it was going to dramatically change. And we have a number of cases on their way up to the Supreme Court as we speak that are going to be really big issues. And that's why the court matters so much. One more justice will not change that, though probably will it? No.
Oh, I went up in frequency. This is AM 1220.
Is not a change. But there already a lot of talk about the fact that there's going to be another one within a year. And now
Okay, so I'm getting higher in frequency. So maybe then it is the amount. Huh. I wonder how that plays in. That would be a learning opportunity there. But I don't feel like learning right now. I'm just playing, to be honest. So I should be even higher in frequency now.
God is merciful while we're on this earth, in this lifetime. He's merciful.
1460.
He wants us to take advantage of his mercy. He wants us to be saved.
I wonder how high I can go with this and be sensitive enough to actually limit out the signals I don't want. Nothing on that one, and of course this one's basically grounding it. Yep, so I've picked up a few stations, not the ones I thought I would pick up, oddly enough. Let me try for one of the lower frequencies again. Well, I'll tell you what though, I'll keep playing with this. There's no point in me making this video go any longer. So, you can see, even having a different coil can change the frequency range that you get. A smaller diameter coil, you're probably going to wind up with a higher frequency. Or a shorter coil, you're probably going to wind up with a higher frequency. That said, you know, I wonder if those statements are correct. Maybe I need to go and look at that. Because I tried this other coil back here, the 30 gauge wire that I've got probably 200 turns on, give or take. I don't know how many feet that is. Versus this one here, this is like a 22 or 24 gauge wire, maybe even 26. Slightly bigger than the 30 gauge, obviously. And certainly I don't have as much wire there, and of course the diameter is nothing compared to that. So I wonder how those differences play out, how that makes a difference, if any at all. You know, there's another thought. I wonder if I could take something like a medicine dropper, wrap copper around the outside of it, and line the plunger with, oh, I don't know, aluminum foil or copper or iron. Maybe put a screw and hot glue a screw to the insides of each of these little veins here. You know, there's a couple of different options I've got here as far as making a tuning coil. What would be more likely to happen is taking something iron, like this screw, and threading it into something like a piece of 1/4 inch CPVC pipe. Putting the copper on the outside and threading that nut or that bolt up on the inside. I've done that too, and I've actually got that ready made. I just got to find it, dig it out from my junk pile here. But I can already say I've tried it. It didn't work that well. You know, it's like Edison said. He didn't find 10,000 failures. He found 10,000 ways how not to make a light bulb. Right? So until next time, this has been a 19-minute long video from yours truly, the Tech Addict, and this has been Tech Addict Attic. I'm CJ, and good night.